welcome everybody to the Wednesday Board Game Live. I'm Seppy, Chief Game Designer for Fight and Box Games, and every week we discuss topics in and around the game industry. Since we're in summer, and summer once upon a time was convention season for gaming, but now like convention season's like all year, right? Maybe there's the early conventions, the summer conventions, and the late conventions, but gaming conventions have really taken off and have spread themselves out through the entirety of the year. But Jared was our guest because Jared goes to all natures of conventions. He goes to technology conventions, art conventions, presentations, like all around the world. So I thought he'd be an amazing guest for convention tips. Jared, give us your 30-second introduction, please.
Hey everybody, my name is Jared Bendis. I'm actually the Board Game Dragon, but I'm also the Creative New Media Officer for the Kelvin Smith Library at Case Western Reserve University. And because of my work in academia and technology, I go to an enormous number, or I have been to, an enormous number of conferences and trade shows. And because of this, and doing the same thing I do when I'm at like Origins, it's all the same space for me mentally. So I think you brought me on because I do know how to maximize efficiencies in terms of time, space, and energy.
Well, it's also an interesting way to look at it. What would you say is difference between a trade show and a gaming convention? Like conventioneering being its own terrible thing, like anime convention, gaming convention, trade show. Like, how would you define their like signature item or essence?
So the thing that's so interesting is I use the word conference and convention and trade show, and they really are different things. You know, if I'm going to do a conference, that means I'm probably going to be giving a paper, sitting into talks, and maybe there'll be some vendors off to the side that paid for a couple things. If I'm going to a trade show, there may be a few talks, but no one goes to those. We're here to see the vendors. And if you go to a convention, I think the convention is the one that's the most balanced, right? People who go to conventions, they go there for the trade show aspect of it, but they also go there for the talk aspect of it, and they also go there for the social aspect of it. So conventions to me are like the truest form of everything, because most conventions have trade shows with them, but I definitely am a trade show junkie. I mean, I love the trade show aspect a lot. I know you would.
So trade show you would define as going booth to booth and seeing people's installations / presentations rather than going to a conference room and hearing an individual speaker talk about a topic.
Right. And sometimes it even gets murkier than that. So like when I'm going to CES, there have been times where I've been invited.
For folks who don't know what CES is,
the Consumer Electronics Show, which is up until recently the world's largest debut tech event.
Is that Vegas or where is the?
It's in Vegas. It's in Vegas. A couple of years ago in Saudi Arabia, they decided to top CES, and they did. So there's like 200,000 people show up to the one in Saudi Arabia. But the idea being is, like every so often, I'll get an email from somebody going like, we're not going to have a booth because they can't afford one, but we're going to have a suite at a hotel. And so you'll be invited to a hotel room that no one's staying at. And when you walk into the hotel room, it's like a private booth where they're doing the same sort of pitch, but they spend a lot less money than if they were on the show floor.
Yeah, that ends up happening a little bit in gaming. You'll see different vendors or different retailer groups will have suites that they'll invite people for doing presentations either to or from, right?
And they're usually very high end. They're very exclusive. You want to get those invites. Or they're usually like, we are so cheap, we don't know what to do. So we invited everyone. Anyway, but that's not what this is about. This is about the surviving a good convention, right?
Or how to get the most out of conventions. Some gaming conventions are about survival. I think sometimes Gen Con feels that way. Like it is very much about conventions.
So I want to go through the things that if I were to really start off, I would say, you want to be thinking ahead now. So every time I go, I think about my big convention is when I go to the Consumer Electronics Show in Vegas, because I'm there for longer than most. I'm there for a week, and I'm walking 10 miles a day. So the first thing is, this is the time of year to put the new insoles in your shoes. Like if you're, you don't think, but seriously, like you forget, you should be buying new insoles every 3 to 4 months. Most people do it like 6 months to a year. The week before the con is when you say, you know what, this is a good week to spend those $50 on those really fancy Dr. Scholl's insoles because you'll feel it this week. You want the freshest insoles for the worst week of your walking. That's number one.
I think that is an amazing piece of advice, and I think I will take you up on that advice. Like
I'm a pro traveler.
This weekend, I think I will take you up on that advice.
Go to the one where they measure your feet. If you haven't done it, where they measure your feet, and they're like $45, and they're worth every penny. So the second thing that I'll tell you is that we are about to expose ourselves to an enormous amount of germs. As you're about to be in a nightmare of a petri dish of people that your body isn't ready for. So now's the time to get your body.
What do you know that I don't know, Jared? And please tell me more.
We've had dinner, I know. So the idea is you want to be drinking as much fluids as possible. Not when you get to the show, now. Get yourself healthy. Start taking those vitamin C's, like literally get yourself in a good shape before you even go. To that end, I have to say that one of my favorite things to talk about is how toxic hotel rooms can be. And people forget how toxic hotel rooms can be. And a few years ago, when I went to Origins, because it was a drive, I brought a pillow with me, my own pillow, so it would be like a pillow. And 2 years ago, I left the pillow in Columbus. And so I was joking this year before I went to Las Vegas that I was going to, as soon as I landed in Vegas, I was going to Walmart and buy a pillow. And it was suggested instead of buying a pillow, which I would have to leave because I couldn't take it home with me. And I've done this since, is I went to Walmart and I bought a pillowcase, one of the hyperallergenic, super duper $15, nothing gets through it pillowcases. I then stuffed the hotel's pillow in the pillowcase, and I brought that pillowcase home to launder. So every time I sleep, because remember, that's what you're getting a face full of. So I get a really super duper expensive hyperallergenic pillowcase, and I bring that with me when I travel, so I'm not in a face full of somebody else's pillow, which, by the way, really can increase.
You're talking about the one with the zipper that you get? And then you normally put a pillowcase over it,
sealed in. Yeah, so I take their pillowcase, put it in their pillow, put it in my pillow, and now I've got a super clean pillow that I can feel comfortable with my face on, and then I launder when I get home. Anyway, for a lot of people, they forget that a lot of traveling alone is just allergies from being in a strange environment. Will make your life more difficult. So those are the pre-things I would say. But I think one of the other things that when I think about, because I think about this all the time, I really do. Like when you said you want to be on for this, I'm like, oh yeah, because I got plans. So, because like what I hate is when I go to a conference, is my example. If I go to a conference and one of my work colleagues will like, shall we have dinner? It's like, no, I know you. You're local. I'm not going to have dinner with you. I'm like, no, I'm sorry, but if you want to have dinner with me, I'm not going to have dinner with you when I have dinner. This is my time to hang with people I don't hang with. So I'm not going to hang with my work people. And so people are like, oh, I mean, it's okay if the whole group comes, but there are people I know who are like, oh, Jared, let's have dinner. And I'm like, no, I'm going to go have dinner with Seppy. Like, I don't see Seppy otherwise. So you have to be thinking about your social time as being something where it's like, you want to spend time with your friends, but if they're friends that you're going to see anyway, really try to maximize the time that you're going to see friends that you can't see any other places.
All right, let's track your advice against gaming conventions and with Gen Con coming up, because I think this is great. All right, so the number one thing, I think people should think about mobility at the convention and time on your feet. If you are a person who is spending a lot of time on the desk, like, it's a good time to get in a few walks beforehand and get your shoes and, like, just limber up. Like, your body will thank you. You'll be more aching maybe this week or next week, but at the convention, you will be happier and have more energy. Oh, I think it's always a good idea to think about your sleep and sleep quality. Like, a lot of conventioneering, especially if you're going in a professional capacity, also means rooming with someone else. And like accommodating how you room with another person, like letting them know if you have like sleep apnea, if you have one other, like, let people know. Like,
I don't move with other
what
people.
You're up against.
Yeah, I rarely move with other people. Like, I know that that's the way people go because they're going because it's more fun than work. But like, no, I don't share a room.
Well, I mean, like game companies don't have a lot of money, so they do the standard.
I get that.
Yeah, now, like it's 2 people to a room, right? It's not usually too bad.
Now, if you're working a con, I will say this: if you're literally going to be a booth monkey,
booth babe. Booth monkey. Professional.
But one of the things that I know that people do is they lose their voice. And you've heard me say this before. I always bring a bottle of the good honey. And I'm talking the unfiltered raw honey. You get a good bottle of it. You're like, oh my God, it's so much money. You know what? Spend the $10 instead of the $3. Because when you buy generic honey, it's not always honey. So you want to go to like Whole Foods and buy the good stuff. And people are like, oh, do you put it in tea? No. I literally just mainline it. I'll have a spoon or I'll just pour it in. And I'm not kidding. Like the more
you've jumped ahead, as I thought you might, Jared. Like your voice is a big deal. Lana, Navigator Lana is sounding in the chat. Lana, you did point out my shame. I went so hard the first and like Jared's advice, like get healthy before the convention. I did not have that option, having picked up something on like Black Friday, like doing demos at Black Friday and then going to PAX, like the petri dish of humanity. I had caught, like I was already reeling and recovering from that period of time. Plus, I just got back on my feet and I went super duper hard those first 2 days, even warming up to the convention because those were my big media moments. PAX Unplugged.
So PAX Unplugged, you were the super spreader. Right? I mean, this is the thing you've got to remember. When you're not feeling well at the convention, you're poisoning everyone you meet.
No. See, I had just recovered and was getting back up on my feet. So it was worse than that. It was like I was ready to pick up the thing to then like give it to the rest of the universe because I had already had my immune system down.
But I just watched, I was at, my brother was in Cleveland doing a book signing and I watched him fist bump.
Is your brother anybody important?
My brother's very important. But I watched him fist bumping everybody and occasionally hugging people. And we were talking about how much physical contact you have with people and that, you really do need to start thinking about, I know we think about it anyway because of COVID, but we also forget, as we're, in our daily lives, we probably are around the people that we're closer to in our cohorts. And that when you start walking into a convention, you're walking into not your cohort. These people are strangers. And we do forget that you don't hug everyone and you don't shake every hand. And it's okay to make a little bow or, whatever, or Purell nonstop, and to stop touching your goddamn face. By the way,
don't touch your face.
Stop touching your face now, right? All the things that you want to be conscious of to stay healthy, because the number one thing that you've got to remember is that being sick at a convention is triply damaging. Number one, you're sick. Number two, you're sick at a convention. Number three, you have to do it anyway. And number four, you're going to feel bad that you're missing out. Nothing makes your FOMO go through the roof than not feeling 100%. Even if it's just a little bit off, your FOMO is you're feeling like this, but really you're feeling like this.
Those are all really good points. Everybody, thank you for joining us today. The Board Game Dragon, who's a world traveler for conventioneering, trade shows, and conferences. We're discussing tips and tricks for conventioneering, and we are starting with the things you can do now to get ready for Gen Con. And we talked about, hey, are you going to be on your feet the whole time? Look at your shoes, do something about it.
You will. Nobody is sitting the whole time. There's always I'm sitting the whole time, but my God, how far away did I have to park? No, get your shoes good now.
This is practically impossible for other board game people before Gen Con, but rest up. You do not want to go to the convention tapped out because you're either inviting sickness or going to bring sickness, which is the worst.
This is also the time to buy those new socks you were looking at. Seriously, if I'm going to go to a convention, I'm going to go, what are my fluffiest socks? Like I have a whole thing. People don't realize, like you see me, I'm always wearing the blue shirts, but like sometimes you'll see a couple shirts that are a little bit different. I wear all my clothes based on feel. Like everything I do is based on how they feel. And so it really is one of those things where you want to be thinking about, like, you're going to be tired. Now I want to real fast, switch a little bit of gears about prepping. That's something you should do now as well. We don't see it as much as we used to, but business cards are a thing. And if not necessarily business cards, calling cards. Now I got to ask you, Seppy, have you ever forgotten your business cards before a con and had ever printed there?
Not ever printed there. I just went, oops. It's been a while. Like learning. One of my tips for if you're going to make conventioneering part of your life is figure out your method. Like I have a series of steps I go through so I don't have to think about them. I go through things in such a way so that I don't have to mentally engage with the thing, right? And that is like, here's my bag. And my bag has a set of things installed or part of it. And boom, I don't think about the individual items. I think about the amalgamated item, which is my bag.
Yeah, I think about the kit, right? So my EpiPen, my Tums, my Dude Wipes, what are you talking about, right?
No, I love it. No,
I've got the shoulder. You saw I had a purse. I have a shoulder bag. Like it's
absolutely.
All the things that you need to be like urban survival, as it were. The Purell, the business cards. The battery pack for your phone, the battery pack for your phone, the battery pack for your phone. So I carry a battery pack for my phone, a small charger, and a small power brick, and a very long cable so I can charge for my phone. All of those things are things that I think about of like, because one of the things that I think people forget when they're conventioning is that your day is probably about 6 to 8 hours of at most of isolation. But when you're conventioning, you might be 14 hours of isolation. You might go, oh my God, I haven't been by a plug in 14 hours, or I'm going to run out of batteries, or I'm going to run out of, like, there are times you're like, wait a second, at home, you forget about how many times you go back to it. Your fanny pack, that's right. So that there is that comes along with that. But I think that the branding becomes really important. If you're in business, it's a business card. But even if you're not in business, it might be a calling card. I'm a big. Or
it could be like if you're gonna be fancy and spend a little money, get stickers. I know you're not supposed to have them at Gen Con.
No stickers, man. First of all,
get stickers.
I have sticker anxiety. You know this. Pins. No, sticker anxiety. Where do I put the sticker? You give me a sticker. What's this to do with it?
It goes on your water bottle, Jared. It goes on your water bottle.
In your bag, do you have a pen? Because the pen's a good one as well. Pad of paper, a set of dice. No. There are times where I've overpacked. Okay, so let's talk about the other part. Don't overdo it.
No. I think you make a good point, and don't be like a bad Jared. Be a good Jared. Don't blow through your good points by smothering them with another good point. Like, I think it's a very good idea, and Jared brings this up. You should have a pack, and you should have a method. And know what you need, and think about where you're going to be. And so you don't want to pack too heavy, but you do want to include like, this is the essential, or no, I'm very comfortable picking this up on the way, or whatever it is. Like, understand the choices that you're making and understand what you should be bringing. Like, yeah, absolutely. All right, now go on, Jared.
The other thing you can do is, this is a good time to get a haircut. Is about 2 days before the convention as well, because you don't want to be in the middle of the convention going like, I think I need a haircut. And I know that sounds stupid, but like before you go to the convention, it's like all the things that you don't want to have happen at the convention is like all those things that you could have done ahead of time. So I think about, everything that involves grooming, in terms of like, if I'm going to dye my hair, I'll dye it a few days before the convention. If I'm going to get a haircut, there's new socks, new shoes, do your best laundry, all that kind of stuff.
That is one of the things I like traveling wise, like for me, for a step, like I often will like go to a salon or do a haircut thing at the convention itself as part of my, I just need a break. and I am going
that's the masseuse. For me, it's when I go get the massage.
Right. I'm like, okay.
No, I was like, like, okay, tonight I'm going to go, yeah, where's the chair massage? I'm paying for that. No, what's interesting also about this is like I usually, when I, and this is actually a good one for gaming conventions. So when I'm going to the Consumer Electronics Show, I usually carry a suitcase. And the suitcase has my toiletries, because old man wise, there's no way I'm going to do carry-on toiletries. Like I need just my regular toiletries. So all of my suitcase holds my clothes and my toiletries. My carry-on bag holds my business stuff. That's going to be my shoulder bag, but I also have a couple of weird items that I personally like to add. I have a 24-port USB charger, which allows me, it's a 24-port charger, which allows me to charge everything at once. Now, most people don't need this much power. I also have a small table fan. So like what I've noticed is from a sleep perspective, I put a fan on the nightstand. I also used to have a little what's it called? UV filter that would just ionize the air on my head. But here's the funny part. All of that pretty much lives in that carry-on bag. Like if I were to take my carry-on bag right now and open it up, it's packed for Vegas. One other thing which I love, which is so weird, is that I have in my suitcase a rolling duffel bag that fits in my suitcase. So when I go to Las Vegas, I usually have one carry-on and one checked on the way there, one carry-on, two checked on the way back. But that checked bag, the second checked bag, was in my luggage, because there have been so many trips that I've been on where I've acquired so much stuff that I've had to buy a suitcase.
I think that is critically important if you're going to a gaming convention as a content creator. Like, if people want to give you like games to review, or you want to make purchases, bringing a bag inside your bag is a big deal, especially if you are somebody who is flying internationally. Like I know a person who was Argentinian, who it's really hard to get board games in Argentina. So they would bring board games back to sell.
And what's interesting about this concept is that people are always like, but that rolling duffel bag isn't very strong. How am I going to put my games in it? You don't. The rolling duffel bag is where you put your dirty clothes in. You put your games back in the real suitcase. The real suitcase, yeah. And it's a stupid little thing. So I have it's a sturdy rolling duffel bag, but I never put weight in it. And I will also say that we don't have to do it anymore. I have a pair of shoes I use just for the airport. So I have what I call airport shoes. Oh, yeah. So I wear really good work boots. I wear high top boots all times, nice Merrells. But because I have to take my shoes off at the airport, it takes forever. I've got I've got Skechers they're Velcro on, Velcro off. Okay. So when I'm in the airport, I use my airport shoes. And then once I'm through security, I put my real shoes back on. So yeah, I always have what I call
I'm going to label that neat, but a step too far, Jared. You have neat, but a step too far.
Well, the funny part of it is that I guarantee you're going to say, Jared has shoes he does use for the airport, and someone going to go like, that's brilliant. Trust me. Some people are going to.
Oh no, like that. If you're a constant airport traveler and anything you can do to maximize that time or minimize that pain, I am on board. Like, for decades, I don't want to say how many decades, I was a brutally awful traveler. Like nothing was good about it. But I discovered some essential things for travel that has made travel no longer the most horrible thing in my existence. And number one is that to understand how to manage my motion sickness. Right?
Relief band? Do you have a relief band?
No. But I have drugs.
No. I don't use the drugs. I use the relief band, which is an electric shock on your wrist, which puts your stomach in sync with the shock. It's real science. It's amazing. Oh, I love
that. Yeah, send me a link to that later.
It's really good stuff.
Well, that's great. I'm excited about that. Number two is realizing for me, it is the sound of other humans that causes the most energy drain.
Yeah, I get that. But now, so for me, so here's a funny one. And I don't know if you saw the video on this or not, because I know you don't watch my content unless I tag you in it. So when my AirPod 3s died, I went out to buy the AirPod 4s. And there's the 4 and there's like the 4 Pro. And the difference between the 4 and the 4 Pro is that this case will beep if you lose it, which is what I needed. But also the 4 Pro has active noise canceling, which normally I don't like because I used to be able to hear the noise canceling. But oh my God, when I put these in, the world vanishes.
Oh, I love it so much.
No, I don't even listen to music. I just put them in. All the noise goes away.
Oh, yeah.
And I did not realize how sensitive I was to white noise until I got these things.
Oh, it's so good.
The battery doesn't last long enough because I want them in all the time. I thought about buying there so I could start swapping them out.
No, it's so good.
And the problem with it is that it lets voice go through. Like, so when people talk to you, you can hear it. And I wish there was a mode where it's like, no, block those fuckers too. Like, I want everything.
Please.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Like children crying on airplanes. I do not want to hear that.
But I can't wear these on an airplane. So some people are going to relate to this, but I have the ear pressure problem. So whenever I'm flying, and the first time I ever flew, I was like 20, I think I was 21 the first time I ever went on a plane. And it felt like there was an ice pick stabbing me in my head. And there was little kids crying behind me and me. The two of us are freaking out. I'm crying. I've never been in this much pain before. And people keep going, chew gum, hold your breath, whatever. Nothing's working. And it turns out that my ears don't pop properly. And so for me, the worst part of flying was that, and then I found something called earplanes.
Yes.
So earplanes are these earplugs with a ceramic filter that equalize the pressure slowly. And without these, I could not travel. But because I'm wearing these earplugs that balance by the way, if you have any ear pressure problem, these things are a godsend. But because of this, I can't wear earbuds. And because of this, I have to put on headphones that are like crank the volume all the way up. But what I do to end this is where the Shox bone induction headphones come into play. So I've got my ears plugged with these earplugs, but then when I put the bone induction headphones get louder when there's things in your ears. So the headphones live right here. They go in through your temple bones, and it's literally, this is my quote unquote airplane kit. That's different than my travel.
That's hysterical. All right. So I'm a person who's lucky enough to have my equalization problem fixed by Sudafed and gum. And I do. I pop a Sudafed.
And then for your.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. It dries all this out, and then boom. Like my issue is how the tubes all fit together, not the tubes.
Lana is showing their age. It's no longer aftershocks; they're just shocks. Anyway, they rebranded. We rebranded a few years ago, by the way.
Well, Lana's talking about the time before, like when I used to pick people up at the airport. I used to go to the gate.
Oh my God! Well, they used to let us go to the gate. Yeah.
Do you remember? You used to do that. That's how you show you cared. Mm-hmm. You used to go to the gate to pick them up because
That's not what, for the young people in the room. We used to go to the gates when we first started dating people, so that when we wanted to show them that we didn't care anymore, we stopped going to the gate. So they'd go, "You didn't come to the gate." And you're like, "It's not that big of a relationship." You're like, "You don't bring me flowers anymore." I never brought you flowers. That's a whole different thing.
That's a really roundabout way to do something passive aggressive, Jared.
You gotta plant the seeds of goodness so you can run pull. Anyway.
Oh, yeah, gates. Yeah, it used to be a thing. Like, how many 80s movies and 70s movies did you have people running through the airport to try to catch a person on the way to the gate?
Now you will be stopped by security for running in the airport.
Seriously, it's a thing. But I remember those moments. I remember all that.
So, one of the things you don't know is that when I was in my 20s, we got a gig at work where for 3 months, I would fly out on Mondays and fly home on Fridays every weekend. It would have been 6 months, but it was only 3 months. Because at the end of the 3 months, I said, can I just stay in the hotel over the weekend? And they're like, okay. And if I got to the airport late and I missed my flight because we were paying full price for the tickets, I would go, put me on the next flight. They'd go, okay. I go, I missed my flight. They go, okay, because we were paying full price for the ticket, so it didn't matter. So I was taking planes like buses. It was very weird. Because if you pay full price for a plane, you can miss it. They don't care. It's fully refundable. Yeah. They got the plane. They're like, okay.
It's definitely a thing. All right, so everybody, welcome to Wednesday Board Game Live. I'm Seppy. This is Jared, the Board Game Dragon. We're discussing tips and tricks to make the most out of conventioneering. In particular, this time we've been talking about prep, like thinking about what you're going to do at the convention, what you need at the convention, what you're going to come home with the convention. And how to make the most of it, from your shoes to your pillowcase to like a warm-up set of walks, because Gen Con is a lot of walking. Yeah.
So you just said prep, and I think I want to shift a little bit because you something reminded me as well. Downloading the program or the app for the convention ahead of time is very, very useful. And, when you start making your checklist of things.
Oh, the number one, the reason that is useful is do not count on convention Wi-Fi or phone service anywhere around a convention. If you can get the app, get the app beforehand.
Yeah. And make sure it's all updated. No, but one of the things that I think is interesting is, and I'm going to talk about FOMO again, because I think FOMO is really, really important here. You cannot see everything. Your plan cannot be, I'm going to walk up and down every single aisle. It can be if you're literally just trying to vacuum the floors, but it can't be if you're actually trying to do things. So I think what ends up happening is that what you do is you sort of go through and you make a list of things that you want to see. But you have to remember that list is opportunistic. It is aspirational at best. Do not bank on anything. Literally, so one of the things that I posted a video about this a couple months ago, and I'll say it like this. Do not seek fulfillment from your aspirations. Because what ends up happening is you'll make a plan.
Say that again in a different way.
Well, so if you say, these are the 10 things I'm going to hit, and then you hit 8 of them, you'll be disappointed. You should set 10 things and be ecstatic that you hit 8 of them. You're I hit 8. You have to be open for the adventure as well. I mean, here's the thing for me is every so often I'll bump into somebody at a convention and I'll be laughing because I'll be like, this conversation cannot be content. I cannot talk about the conversation I just had. And by the way, when I'm at a convention, when I'm at a con, I'm doing content. So literally every moment I'm doing is content based. And I just had an hour-long philosophical conversation about a product that I have an NDA on. And I'm like, I didn't waste my time, but it's a shift of my goal. And so you have to stop. The goal should be one uber goal. And that is, I'm going to have a good time. I'm not going to have a bad time. That's your goal. That's it. All the little sub goals will not lead to it. You just have to say I'm going to be open for the adventure. And you have to make sure that one of the things that I think happens a lot of times is we are in.
No. I'm going to stop you there because you made an amazing point, Jared. Before you go on to your next point, setting goals and understanding what goals are for and what success is is a life skill for all travel, for all expeditions, and is something you should think for a convention, right? Understanding, especially if you're going to one of the big conventions, that your goal can be to explore. Some of my favorite Gen Cons when I was a civilian was I'm just going to show up and I'm going to be swept up to the first community that grabs me. And Gen Con in particular, you can drop in deep. This is how I ended up in the top 8 for the world's first Yu-Gi-Oh! Championships. Like, this is how I made like the national champions for Dragon Dice. Like, I was just like, sure. Like, no one can take those stories away from me. Like, and then there are people like pitching board games and like getting caught up in the excitement of those individual people. Like, live action chess was a thing once upon a time at Gen Con you could just drop into and so forth and whatnot. But figuring out like your goal is to get lost in the convention or explore the convention or experiencing something new can also sort of be part of the fun.
But also to reclaim your time too. I mean,
Right.
you know, one of the things, if you watch my content where you see me at a booth going, hey, everybody, I met this blah, blah, blah. You know what it's like for the person in the booth next to me when I walk over and I look in and they go, do you want to see anything? I go, no. And they just saw me be so enthusiastic and spend 10 minutes with this one booth. And then I look at them and I go, no, I'm good. And I walk past them and I know that I'm hurting their feelings. Or someone's like, let me show you about this game. And I'm like, I'm really not interested. And then I walk by and you have to learn. And it's that sense of like, you know, you aren't obligated to see every demo. You're not, and the other one is the Starbucks approach, the gift card approach. You know, there are people that are like, if you get 6 stamps at these 7 booths, we'll give you a free whatever. And I'm like, no, I'm good. And so I was at Origins and the guy was like, if you hit these 6 booths and blah, 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 we're going to give you a free blah, blah, blah for the blah, blah, blah. And it was something about LGBTQ. And I'm like, I'm a big supporter. I'm a firm believer, but I don't have time for this shit. So you can have it back. And he reaches in, he's like, here's a pin for your honesty. And because at the end of the day,
that's fun. Like, if you're gonna go on the quest, go on the quest. I want to congrats James on his goal in the chat. James, I see you and acknowledge you. That is fantastic. All right, so understanding that you can't do everything. And don't let that be a distraction from you enjoying the things that you can do, or don't let it close you off from the opportunities that you might not realize are available to you. Like, there is a great amount of, like, one of my favorite / most useful times at any gaming convention is setup. I always tour everybody's booths while setting up.
You're talking about as somebody who's working the show.
Yeah, like I'm talking like behind the scenes. And so that is great because number one, you know exactly how busy a person is during setup by just looking at them. Like, when the show is going, you don't know what meetings they have got going on or how many people are in the booth. It's over the whatnot. But there's so much hurry up and wait at, like, during setup at a convention that you might be helping them by, like, connecting with them and catching up, right? Yeah.
Well, that also brings up something interesting, because I know sometimes we meet celebrities, or even not celebrities, but like you, and you know, like parasocial. I'm called a happy to be here, but you, Jared, you're a personality. You're a personality too. I mean, everyone thinks they're funny. Anyway, no, but one of the things that I think
I don't.
And yet you wore that shirt. No, but one of the things that I think is interesting about this is that, you know, you can feel yourself putting yourself in a bad space when you want to talk to somebody and they're busy, when you really want to get in, but they're doing something else with somebody else right now. And it's really, the blinders of when is it my turn becomes very inward focused. And this can happen to anybody. You feel like a child at this moment. You don't realize it until you're feeling that moment. But there's this moment where it's like, everyone else is getting attention but me. And that can happen when you're at a busy booth, or when there's a celebrity walking by, or it doesn't be a celebrity. It could be, Grant. But
Grant is actually a celebrity.
I know he is actually a celebrity. You're the one with the
we
blue
know
check.
One actual celebrity.
You're the one with the blue check mark.
Is our actual celebrity.
You're the only one in the crowd with the blue check mark. Anyway, but what I think is important is, and I go back to this because, I think about, I always tell the story is I was at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York at the coat check, and I turn around and it's Leonard Nimoy. And I did all the things that go through you. And I have this rule when I meet a celebrity, and I only say one thing. I go,
and you're talking about Leonard Nimoy because of the Ballad of Bilbo Baggins. He didn't do anything else, right?
Nothing else. In search of, right? No. So what I said was, I said what I always say.
You said in search of. I love that so much.
I just want to say thank you. And that's it. I just say thank you. Because what else do I have to say? I said thank you. And I went to, it was my ex-wife, and I'm like, I just met Leonard Nimoy. She goes, no, you didn't. I go, yes, I did. He was in coach check with me. She goes, no, you didn't. And he walks by and he goes, and for the rest of the day, whenever we were anywhere, and he was on one side of the gallery, he would wave at me. And she's like, he's waving at you again. And I never said a word. He never said a word to me. All I said to him was thank you. And the reason I think about this is something, a philosophy of mine, which is this: do not make the best moment of your day the worst moment of somebody else's. And when you're at a conference, when you're at a trade show, when you're at a booth, you understand, because you're not just a head designer, you're also a business owner, that these people are your customers.
A bad business owner.
But you understand that the people you're talking to are your customers. So you treat them all with the respect of a customer. And I think that when you're talking to people and you're like, gimme, whatever it is, whether you want freebies or whatever, you've got to ask yourself, like, dude, this is a bit small. These are small business owners. These are people minimum wage. Some of these people, this is like McDonald's for them. They're just booth monkeys, barely being paid to be here because they wanted a free ticket to whatever. Like, you need to ask yourself, like, what is it to be in their shoes right now? They are tired. They're doing the same spiel over and over again. How are you treating these people? And it's really important to not lose that when you start getting into the, I'm not getting enough stuff out of my moment, to like take a moment and go, wait a second, we're in a community here. And I think that's really, really important that you treat people, because I'll be with you and I'll go, you know what, you take all the time in the world. And you've seen me do it with you, but I do it with everybody. Like, I want the demo, but you don't hurry for me. Like, I will wait. And if I can't wait for the demo, that's on me. Then I'll move on. But I don't rush anybody because it's not worth it. And it's not fair to everyone involved.
That is excellent advice. And I would almost take it one step further. Don't make your worst day of your day another person's worst moment. And remember, the ripples of awful can end with you. You can magnify, like, normally all this stuff comes from someplace else, like, and you can choose to make the choice that this, like, awful can end with you. Like, and when you do,
take it off. If you of the things when you're at a convention, and again, I say this because I do this all the time, and I know when things turn bad. Even me, I've been doing this for a while. There's a moment where you become so overwhelmed by exhaustion, by stimulus, by communication, by FOMO, that you just start feeling yourself spiraling into, I'm not doing what I need to do. And you're like, what are you doing? Just shake it off. And by the way, I know you're like no one's liking the game. I'm not getting enough connections. All that. You know what? It only takes, ask yourself this, in the gaming world, we have a term called MVP, right? Minimum viable product. Right. So as a conventioneer, what is your minimum viable product? What does success look like for you? You've allocated this time and this money. What is the minimum amount of experience that you would have to enjoy yourself? And you think I'm doing this for the thing. I think this way. This is how my brain works. Where I ask myself, what am I trading X for Y in terms of time and effort? Is that line worth it? Am I going to wait in line for an hour and a half for a free ice cream cone? My time is worth money. So there are times where I look at that line and I laugh and I go, nope, that line isn't for me. But there are times I look at that line and go, I'm going to hang with those people for an hour and I'm going to be first. Like tomorrow, Friday is the board game flea market. It opens at 11. I will be there at 9:30. I will be sitting. They already know this. Everyone knows this. Everyone knows. The people are making jokes on the internet that I'm already sitting outside waiting for them to open Friday morning.
Yeah. You know what? Aren't you? I feel like that's why you got the jacket on already.
Is that's the and the same thing, by the way, goes with food. Can we talk about food?
All right, no. I'm not going to let you Jared out. Before you jump to your next Jared point, let us explore what you just said and drive it home. And that is being conscious of the trades that you are making and feeling good about them is not only a convention survival skill, it is a life survival skill. And I understand that I am immortal, but I appreciate time spent.
You say immoral?
Immortal.
I really believe that you can choose to be happy. I really believe. I'm not saying that you can choose to be healthy. I'm not saying that you can choose to
let's talk about a couple of mechanisms in and around the happiness engine. Being mindful of the choices that you're making and what you're getting helps. Understanding you can survive anything that has a expiration date is also very, 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 very helpful for a mental health skill. Setting yourself up for success at these conventions, in Gen Con in particular, especially if you're going for the first time, also means scheduling time to either explore or it not be structured.
Yeah, do not schedule your entire existence.
Every second of Gen Con. Oh my God!
And so there's two things about that I think is important. I watched last year that when the gates opened at Gen Con and you watched a crowd of little heads. And I thought to myself, "Where's Curvin?" I just this little flag, You can
see his little legs underneath the. I'm being stepped on.
You know what's funny though is at 10:30 it wasn't that bad. That was 10 o'clock. So all those people chose to have that moment.
Yeah.
You could have chosen to not have that moment. You could have said, you know what? I'm going to sleep in an extra half an hour, and I'm going to see exactly as much as those people did, and have none of the anxiety of that crowd.
Or if you are a person who needs, that there's this thing, and this is one of your goals, do it. But bring a little game, make it a party. Don't make it a death march.
Well, and that goes back to the other thing. So one of the things is that the older I go, the less time I have. I have to eat more, go to the bathroom more, sleep more, whatever. Move slower. But one of the things that move slower. So
I know recharge time is longer and less effective. That is the worst part of
So, as a member of the media, when I go to the Consumer Electronics Show, there's a media lunch where they literally get box lunches in a private room, and you get to eat and drink. So there's zero line, and it's free food, and it's oh my God, and I can spend an hour there. Versus if I don't have media lunch, I can spend 2 hours to get a piece of pizza, and people do that, and I'm that 2 hours is too valuable for me to waste on a piece of pizza. This is where get some beef jerky and some candy bars, stick them in your bag. You've got to allocate. So one of the things that I think is funny, when I was doing my castle trips, talk about time allocation for a moment. There was one of my trips when I was in Scotland where I almost never had dinner because when the sun sets, there's no restaurants. They were all closed. All the pubs were open.
It's like Philadelphia. It's terrible.
There's no restaurants.
I hate that.
And if the sun is up, I am moving or shooting. I don't waste daylight. And so, in if you're in France, the sun sets, there's food, but in Scotland there isn't. And in Ireland, there was no food after dark. And so this idea of, maximize, I'm going to eat before I go to the convention. I'll have dinner later. Maybe I'll skip lunch, but have a really solid snack, so I don't have to waste my time and money on the conference food type thing. And sometimes I'll go, I need a break. I'm going to sit for an hour, and I don't care if I'm going to lose that hour because my body needs it. I'm not going to sit here. That was just my phone freaking out. So I think it's really, that's right.
Understanding that you're going to experience fatigue before you feel it or think about it is a getting older skill, or it's something that you could do to optimize your conventioneering. Why am I so cranky? Oh, I haven't eaten. Why have I got the shakes? I haven't had water. If you can head out these unfortunate things, what you don't understand is you are spending energy on those conditions that could be used for having fun. like managing awful things that are happening to you because you did not eat, you did not hydrate. So over the
well-hydrated sinuses will protect you from getting sick.
It will,
seriously,
hydrating. Hydrating before the convention. Hydrate, having water with you all the time. Like if you want to save your voice, not only is the honey trick good, but always be hydrated will greatly slow down the fatigue of your vocal cords.
One thing that I think you'll appreciate as somebody who's kind of working on the other end of it is that when people say, "Oh, can I make an appointment?" I kind of roll my eyes because I don't.
Are you asking me if I make appointments so I can work somebody at both ends? Is that what you just said, Jared?
When I make appointments at conventions, they're like, "Can you make an appointment?" And I'm like, "Dude, I don't want to make an appointment because I don't know where it's going to be." And so what I've recently done is someone goes, "Oh, can you make an appointment?" I go, "I'm only taking appointments on Thursdays." So what I'll do is I will allocate one day for all of my appointments so that I know that day is already shot. I'll go 1 o'clock here, 2 o'clock here, 3 o'clock here. So I don't have to worry about the little sightseeing in between the appointments or feeling like, oh, I've got this here and there. So what I'll do is I'll allocate one of my convention days to just doing that. Or, and I think that's important because,
I have 22 media appointments at Gen Con this year.
Across how many days?
4.
Okay. And it's weird because I don't always, people ask me all the time if they want to do appointments and I'll go, no, I'll do. And I think it was last year at CES, one guy, and I was running late. I was so mad. I was running late to the appointment. And it was first thing in the morning. And it was a robotics company. And they were the robotic cotton candy company, and they wanted to give me a tour of the booth. And it turns out the guy I was having an appointment with, his flight was canceled, so he wasn't there. And I ended up doing a 1-hour appointment in this booth. None of it was my normal coverage. I ended up making 8 videos on this one company. They had a robotic candy machine, a cotton candy machine, a robotic balloon machine. It was a great time.
Ooh.
It was a great time. And what I had to remind myself is that sometimes you're just going to have a great time. Like it's outside of everything that you normally do, but your brain's like, this is going to be fun. Let's do this.
Also, I like that you mentioned this. There is an anime that got its 2nd season this summer about being reincarnated as a vending machine. And the vending machines, the robotic vending machines that you just covered, this guy can transform into as any set of vending machines. My favorite, of course, being the 3-story tall ice making vending machine.
So back to the topic at hand. No.
Isn't that the topic at hand? Like taking off tour, like going off road to have a little fun.
But so the other part of this is that so go back to this. Don't overschedule. I want to say it again. Make it very clear. Don't
have a goal and don't overschedule.
But the goal should be an overarching goal. It's actually not even a goal. In our field, it would be called a program. A program would be more of like, at the end of the day, what do you want to get out of Gen Con? Well, I want to see a couple of my friends online. I'd like to play some games after the event hall closes. I would like to, see a couple of new games and maybe pick up a couple of things. Like the goals should be vague. They should be open-ended. They should be a cross-section of things. But with that in mind, know what you don't want to do. And I think that becomes really important because you can easily get caught up on the Pokemoning of weird goals where you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, where'd you get that ribbon? Where'd you get that ribbon? Where'd you get that pin? Like, dude, let it go. Like unless you are a true pin collector, in which case that should have been your primary goal. And I think this becomes this thing about where again, I just think about all the ways in which, and they're all led by FOMO, by the way. They're all led by somebody. You saw somebody else doing it. And, Seppy, have I ever told you about my hammock syndrome? My hammock premise?
Yes.
So every night I dream I'm laying in a hammock, and that's how I drift to sleep. And I hate being in a real hammock. Every time I lay in a hammock, it feels like crap. And then I realized I don't want to lay in a hammock. I just want to feel the way I think you feel when you're laying in a hammock. And I think when we're at cons, they're having more fun than me. They have more friends than me. That game looks really good. It's like, dude, let it all go. Like you're here.
Let it all go.
You. And again, the same part of it is, I had an uncle who had an RV, and he spent the whole year traveling the country in the RV. And if he met you, he like, hey man, you listen, give me your number. If I get to your town, I'll look you up. And he would take your number if you met him on vacation. And then he'd spend the next year looking up all the people he met on vacation as he went from town to town. So ask yourself when you meet somebody, are you really going to follow through with this? Or are you just wasting your time? And you don't have to be rude to people, but you kind of know early on whether you've made a real friend or whether you're like, oh, it was nice to meet you. Just keep moving. I reclaim my time.
I have another point in that, which is if you're going to go in a business capacity to this point, plan on what your follow-up is and know what that looks like. And so
as a member of the media, they are so bad. The number of people who email me and never respond to my emails, the number of people who say they're going to follow up with me and then don't. The number of people, but actually, let me.
Let's one concrete point before you go. We go off to this next topic. It's
on this topic.
Not the Tuesday after Gen Con, but the Tuesday after that Tuesday. You should be contacting every person that made your Notewile list. Even if it's somebody that you're like, I had a great time with you. Thank you. Thank you for being part of my con family. This is a good use of your time. And it doesn't take a lot of time. You just have to say, I'm going to do it.
So what irks me to no end as somebody who goes to this as any convention as a member of the media is when you go somewhere and there is no rhyme or reason as to why the company is there. What are you trying to do here? What are you doing? What are you looking for? And so one of my favorite lines is, are you B2B or B2C? And that applies at Origins and Gen Con as well. B2B is business to business. B2C is business to consumer. So business to consumer is, we're looking to sell you a copy of the game, go to our website. Business to business is, we're trying to show people the game. We're trying to get, all play to buy us. That kind of thing is a little bit different. You're looking for a distributor is different than we're trying to sell you a game.
Right.
And when I ask people, are you B2B or B2C? And they go, I don't know. Or I go, what are you doing here? And they're like, well, what you paid all this money to build a booth. Are you collecting names? Are you making sales? Are you looking for, what is your priority here? And I have this conversation all the time because it one of my favorite lines, and I'll walk to a booth and I'll say world's first. And I'll go, I don't give a fuck if you're the world's first. I'm not your mother. I want to hear that you're the third person. The second person knocked off the third person and that you knocked off the second person because you can do it cheaper and now. I'm a consumer. I want to know why I want it. World's first is a pat on the back. And all the way, most people, when they say they're world's first, they're not. So you need to ask yourself,
right. So,
what are you doing?
This is very important. Before this tirade, you said, understanding what your CTA is, what your call to action is for the individuals that you want to engage with, all starts with understanding what your goals are and what you're doing at that place. All right, Jared, we're in the final 5 minutes. I want to let everybody know that the Wednesday Board Game Live will be on Gen Con break next week and the week after, because I got to get ready, got to do all those things.
You won't have a voice the week after.
Yeah, I need to take a break to take all this advice. So we'll be resuming in August.
What's the topic in August?
I got to figure out what my topic is, and maybe that'll be one of my goals for the next little bit of week. But I got to focus.
Could it be AI in the gaming industry?
Oh, God. Stop picking on poor John. That guy, stop picking on him. All right. So, yes. All right. So
I will not be at Gen Con.
I know you won't be. Where will you be, and where can people find you next?
Well, you can always subscribe to me on TikTok because that's where I'm at most of the time. The only place I'm going to be is Friday. I'll be at the Board Game Flea Market in Cleveland.
At 9:30 in the morning.
At 9:30 in the morning, they open at 11. I've got no travel plans coming up. The university is not sending me to CES this year, so if I go, it's going to be on my own dime, and I have to decide whether I'm going to start saving now. But I've got no travel plans. PAX Unplugged is out. It's not going to happen. I want to, but I'm not going to be there.
I feel it's sad for me. I only get to see Jared maybe once every other year. Quarterly Jared visits.
You're not that far. You're far, but not that far.
That's right. It's a problem.
I'll meet you in Chicago. It's kind of a weird one. So my life is about, as I remind everybody, asynchronous Jared is way more fun than synchronous Jared. So basically, you just want to follow me online. I say TikTok. I'm Jared X2 everywhere because it's my trademark, as in legally registered trademark. So I'm Jared X2 everywhere. Follow me on TikTok and YouTube and go from there. And if this app shuts down or become an Oracle buy it or something like that, we'll find out.
I think it would be super funny to have a tour or a show where, Jared, you and I are dropped into podcasts or radio shows, not knowing anything about them and being guests. Like
that's
this would be
I
know that has happened. There are a few people that I think have enough centuries of life experience. Let us talk about agricultural high renaissance.
Somebody asked me once if we could do a podcast on anything, and we'll pick the topic. I'm like, I'm in. I mean, I would gladly be wrong and bullshit for an hour on any topic.
An improvisational podcast period where you and I just whatever is what do you guys want to talk about?
Gardening, you say? And the thing about it is that every so often there'd be a topic where I'm completely skilled, about, I worked at that tattoo shop for 3 years versus so that's always a funny one is, really this happened to a friend of mine is when they did a skills inventory at work for us one year, they were going to do a big reorg. So they gave us this giant questionnaire and it didn't say, do you do this for work? It said, do you know how to do this? And it listed everything you can imagine. And it involved security systems and, security cameras and alarm systems. And me and a buddy of mine had done all this stuff in-wall networking. I've done that. I don't do this for work, but and when they got there, and my friend John and I were yeah, we filled out everything, right? You have any plumbing? Sure. We're doing all this stuff. And we broke the consulting firm because they got back the questionnaires and they're what are we supposed to do with these? You asked us if we could do it. You didn't say if we did it for our job. You said, do you have the skill set? And the answer is, I've dropped cables down over. I've dropped wires.
I have done so many different things. I often forget that I know how to do things. My default is not to take on the task. Somebody else is a more expert, whatever it is. But then push comes to shove. And if nobody knows how to do it, then suddenly I'm oh yeah. I can do that.
My brakes once. You changed your brakes once. Yeah, I changed my brakes once. And what? Yeah, I've done that. What's always going to happen?
You want to add an electrical plant to your nuclear reactor? Oh, I could do that.
So before my company was called Jared Enterprises. And before that, it was called Just About Anything. Because either I knew how to do it or I knew someone that could do it. And every so often, people would ask me to do something illegal, and I would go, you just put the just in the just about anything, even though it really was, you just put the about in just about everything. Anyway.
Having this jack of all trade rule set was more important when it was harder for people to acquire these knowledges.
Before YouTube.
Right, yeah, before YouTube, when you knew how to do these various things before YouTube, it was a bigger deal. But all right, Jared, that is fantastic. Everybody, if you're looking for me at Gen Con, I will be at booth 439, running marketing for Floodgate the entire convention.
What's Floodgate?
Floodgate is a Minnesota publisher. They are the publishers of Sagrada, Decorum, Fog of Love. They're
Fog of Love.
Yeah, Fog of Love is great. We should do a series where you and I, one of my favorite.
I don't know modern games though. I come out like an idiot.
I know it's great. Rodney did
I literally turned to the owner of the store and said, I have an $850 credit. He's like, what are you going to buy? I'm like, I think that Ark Nova game looks good too, right? And he's like, oh, we got better. And yeah, like, what's the thing that's better than Wingspan? And he's like, oh yeah. I'm like, how much is that? I have $850 store credit. I can buy anything. A friend of mine said,
but you should play it.
I should buy $1,000 of Lorcana cards and just open them on camera.
Yes, that's good. Slay Queen. All right, so any final thoughts, Jared? You were great. You exceeded expectations. You came and you brought it. I knew you'd be a perfect guest for Conventioneering. Any last thoughts?
Stay healthy. Shake it off. Stay out of your head. Stay out of your head. I'm seriously, like, happiness is a choice. You're going on a vacation. You're going to do something very, very fun. Happiness is a choice. If you find yourself being the kid crying at Disneyland, you realize you're an adult. Shake it off, step back up, and get out there and have a good time.
And shaking it off can take 3 minutes. It can take 2 hours. Do what you need to do. Go through your process in the way that you need to do it.
Learn to shake it off in 30 seconds. Seriously. learn to shake it off in 30 seconds.
That sounds like a euphemism, Jared. All right, so I will let everybody go. May you all stay safe and have fun, and I will talk to you in 2 weeks after the Gen Con break, where we'll have a new topic for the Wednesday Board Game Live. And remember, if game design is your thing and you want to learn, think about it 15 seconds every day, you can always join me for the board game design tip of the day. Otherwise, everybody, stay safe and have fun. And Jared, thanks for being a great guest.
Thanks for having me.